So Amina, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning into your love experience.
Yes.
And it's a blessing. It's a blessing to have you here. My wife follows you. She loves you. I have friends who talk about you. Right? We sit.
Awesome. Okay. That's
We
that's
sit on
that's
the couch.
what's up.
Yeah, it's beautiful to see. I know she's gonna be excited for the interview when we get home, and she's gonna be, oh my God, I want to see it. Oh my gosh, she's so amazing.
Tell her
A
I
lot.
said hi for sure. That's love.
Definitely, definitely. Because a lot of people look up to you, a lot of people look up to you and what you've been through because you're very, very strong as a woman. And just from the reading that I've done, the things and the interviews that I've watched, I have nothing but like gratitude and love for you and your strength that you've been through because there's a lot of people who can't go through that kind of strength and persevere, especially with children and being a mom. So just from me to you, you're a superwoman, right?
And thank you so
You're
much.
hands down superwoman. Right. So let's just jump into it. Let's just jump
Okay.
into the
Let's go.
juice. Let's jump into the juice of relationships. So define your love experience. Like what has your love experience been like?
In general in life or if
In life. Like, yeah.
It's been very eye-opening. I learned a lot. And I mean, as far as relationship go and love goes in my life, I've really always had trouble. Like I had troubled relationships. I guess my friends like to say I chose the wrong people to fall in love with, but to me, I don't choose who I fall in love with. So whoever I ended up loving, it wasn't like I had a choice. Like, to me, love happens, love happens. It's not something like, oh, I'm going to love you now. Like, of course, like you can now I'm slowly learning to like kind of pick and choose and kind of be more mindful of like who I even let into my space and all of that stuff. But for my past, I really have not had too much luck with love and relationships. Every relationship that I've been in, I either like got left for somebody else or I got, played or like it's really never been like, it always seemed amazing in the beginning, but it always ended up me being the heartbroken one. And so, as I'm getting older, I'm thankful for all of those failed relationships because they taught me now what to do different and all of those things. So, I'm not mad at having gone through heartbreak. I actually am thankful because it helped me now.
Yeah.
It helped me now to, like I said, be more wise about it.
I mean, it's the experience as well because I've been through it as well, and it taught me a lot about who I am and where I want to go. And if I never went through that route, then we'll never know how to love correctly or even how to receive love, from the right people. So, and one thing you said is that, you learn from it.
Oh, yes. That's the only thing that really matters, what you take from it and what what you learn. Like it's really so important because everybody makes mistakes. Everybody goes through stuff, and those things are necessary for you to grow. And growth is such a big thing in my life and in general. Like growth is what it's all about. And like I said, like those situations taught me so much, and I feel like I'm in a good place now because of what I've been through.
So what is like one of the things that you've learned that you hold on to today, right? One thing big.
Well, it's really like more like little things, honestly, but kind of to sum it all up, the biggest thing I've learned is what I'm not gonna go back to, what I'm not gonna allow again, what I'm not gonna tolerate with, as far as a romantic relationship, what I'm not gonna do again. So I'm still kind of figuring out what I'm going for, because like I've been single for a while and I'm dating now, but it's kind of like I have to really, I think sometimes it's good to write it down. What do I really want? And I'm starting to do that now because I may still not know exactly what that is, but I know for sure because of my past what I don't want. And
I love that.
That's a step forward to me.
Yeah, I love that part, what I don't want, because a lot of people, they don't learn from what they don't want, and they keep repeating the same cycle over and over again in other people, right? Yeah. So they search for that hurt, they search for that pain, and so much other things. So you said you're dating again, right?
Yeah.
How is that? Because that's a love experience in itself. So how's that going for you?
Oh man, it's difficult. I honestly don't really like the dating stage. It's like, damn, like what are we doing? Like I want to know what this is, but it takes time, and I'm learning like what it really means to even date. Like so, um and I grew up in Germany, and like dating is not really a thing. I guess it is a thing, but it's not called dating. It's more like
Yeah.
you kind of like just talk to
Courting.
people, right? So so
Courting.
so the term dating, I never really understood what does that mean. So a person that I am dating now, he had to tell me it means getting to know one another, but not on an exclusive level. So I guess I'm doing that right now, and it's interesting. It's a little scary for me too, because um, I may be a little comfortable alone right now. Like, so it's like, do I really
Love
want
your
to go
space.
open up again? Yeah. Do I really want to go all the way in again? I'm a little bit hesitant, but it's good. It's good. I need that. And I'm just kind of taking my time with it and just kind of,
Yeah, it's
exploring.
not a rush. It's
Yeah.
not a rush. It's not a race. You're still young. You still have a long way to go. And I always tell people that dating is gathering information. Dating is not falling in love. I'm not trying to move too fast. I just want to get to see if we're a right fit while I embrace my singleness and while I just, have a good time right now. Because when you're in a relationship, I've been married for 5 years.
Wow.
So, before that, I was in a bunch of pain. It took me 2 to 3 years to heal from my last relationship because I was hurt.
Oh, wow.
And then I think it was like
exactly 2 to 3 years. That's what it did for me.
the process is tough. I learned a lot about myself, but I kept on going back. For some reason, I kept on going back and texting her and trying to figure out if she still missed me. It was a crazy experience, but we learned so much about it. It challenges us. And for my daughter, who's 2, right? I mean, I'm saying she's 2. What's wrong with me? My daughter's 4. And
wow, I have a 4-year-old.
See, look at this. Play dates is coming up. But she loves, I want to be a perfect example of a man. And one thing that I've learned is that even in that relationship, even though I was heartbroken, I still wasn't the right man I was supposed to be. So I'm happy that I was out that relationship so I can learn how to become a better man, a better father, a better husband, so I won't damage someone else and vice versa. So so what have you learned throughout the healing process? You said 2 to 3 years. So tell me about that.
Exactly what you just told me is kind of what I've been through. I mean, yeah, it took 2 to 3 years to not be heartbroken anymore and to be completely, to slowly go back to happiness and being accepting that it's not going to be, and also to stop going back as well, because I moved from New York to California to completely be done, but it took me 2 years to completely be done. So every time he's also the father of my kids, so every time he would come see the kids, we would still be intimate for about 2 years. And it took me a while, and it was necessary for me to have that distance as well. So time just kind of slowly but surely like made the pain just fade away. And also, working on myself and my self-care, a big deal for me. That is to this day is like my biggest thing right now. Like even with the year that we just had, like just self-care is so important for me. But through that healing process from heartbreak, self-care was like what helps me as well. Self-care and time. And self-care can be whatever. It's different for everybody. For me, it's nature, being outside, exercising, music, and a lot of different things. But everybody has different, likes different things. But you have to find that thing that makes you feel at peace. That gives you peace. And again, those things are different for everybody. But yeah, man, you have to give it time as well. You can't expect like, oh, in 3 months to be over. If you really love that person, it takes time. So but as long as acceptance is also a big word for me. I actually was going to get a tattoo of the word acceptance, because it's like in life, not just in relationships, but it just accepting things for what they are. If you learn and master that, life gets so much better and easier. So yeah, it's something I practice too. But
that word is big. Acceptance. Like, I tell people that a lot. Acceptance. You have to accept the fact that you heal. You have to accept the fact that you have to go through some kind of self-care. You have to accept the fact that you might not heal in 2 to 3 months that you would like to. And 2 to 3 months might be 2 to 3 years. And you might be disappointed. So you said something about music. I was actually on your page.
Yay.
So tell me about that. How is that self-care? Because it's beautiful. It's something that you love.
Because it's my outlet. Really, when I say music, it's writing, because I'm a songwriter. And I don't only write songs. I wrote a couple of books too, which was my therapy throughout those years. And I just recently found some journals from when I was a teenager. And that made me remember that I always used writing as an outlet, just journaling, just writing down your thoughts, your feelings, because sometimes it's hard to talk to, your friends. Like for me, I didn't feel like talking to my friends anymore, because everybody would tell me the same thing and give me all of their ideas of what I should do, but nobody really had the answers of how to do it. So I always turned to writing from when I was very young. So now music is also big for me, because it gives me just like a happy feeling when I create something. Really nothing else matters. I feel good. And like, you need to do a lot of things that make you feel good during, when you're in a low. So just finding things that make you feel good, whatever it is. And that's one of the things that always all my life has made me feel good, just writing and letting it out. And being an artist, that means just being creative. And so, that's it for me.
You seem very, very like motivated and inspired, right? So how did being popular, right, being a huge public figure affect your personal relationship with yourself or with your relationships in general?
Oh, that's a good question. It was crazy for me, especially because my relationship was so much in the public eye. Everybody knew what was going on, and everybody had their opinion of me, and everybody, for the most part at the time, it was negative. Everybody thought I was just stupid and dumb, and calling me all kinds of things, and just
you don't care about what you say, whoever you are. I said, we don't care about what they say.
Right? No, that is what I was getting to. So I had to learn how to not care about that. And now it's easy for me, after it's 6-7 years ago that I first was on TV with my personal life, and people started judging it. It was hard then, but now it's like, so I'm such a pro at just not even being affected by it at all, all, because I know, it took me writing a few songs about it, and really having to really think about it and understand that nobody knows the real me but me. And so and I mean, now it's easy for me to deal with.
You gotta invest in yourself. You gotta invest back in who you are, and I think that's what you've done. And I'm man, I'm just sitting here, I'm listening to the stories, after seeing everything. And I'm so proud of you, because there's so much people who are going through the same exact thing, and they don't know how to navigate through those feelings, through those opinions. And it actually tears people apart. It tears families apart. So for you to come out from that struggle, right, from that dark place, and for you to fly and just bask in your music and your writing, and accept the fact that you went through some kind of process. And one thing you said at the beginning of when we started was that you can ask me whatever, I'm over it now. That kind of attitude made me smile and say to myself, back to it again, you're a superhero, you're a superwoman.
Man, it takes self-love and confidence. And those are the two things that people used to say I don't have. And I feel like I have it so much, especially now. Maybe at the time, I was in love with somebody and I was stuck on him, and people saw me just being weak for someone. But I feel like I have the most love for me, for myself, and especially coming out of that. And what people used to say, you need to gain some self-esteem. I'm like, really? That's who I am. That's what I stand for. I'm all for women loving themselves. And I think it shows more now too. I get that compliment a lot nowadays. You look so happy. You look like, you've grown so much. And those things I just love to hear, because it's the truth, and it's really how I feel. Yeah.
Because people who go through those things, they never been through anything. People have so much opinions until they've been through it. You never been through anything. You never fought through anything. You've never cried over anything. You've never felt like, you were at your lowest. So they have nothing else to say but their opinion. Until you've been through some kind of mess. I told people, you don't know what it feels like to go through pain until you've been through some heartbreak. The tears under the pillows. You don't want to get up. You don't want to eat, sleep. you don't even know what to do with your life.
Yep.
Unless you go through that and you had to fight through that, begging to be healed. That's when you say, you know what? And you come out of that, you come out of that a whole totally different person.
Oh,
And
yes. You feel like new, like you're
yeah.
like a new person. And I remember that time when you felt so free when you finally overcome that, like that heartbreak and you get out of it. It's like you're on the other side and you're like, all of a sudden it's free and you're like not in shackles anymore. Like I was, I felt like so like, I don't even know how to, like, there was a point where I was like, I don't know how to get out of it. And now I get these messages all the time from women on Instagram and like everywhere, like, how did you do it? I need advice. I'm in the same kind of situation. Can you help me? How did you? And like, it's literally like, there will come a time, because if you do know your worth and you do know that you are in a toxic situation and you really are longing for that like happiness again, like, and you take steps, like it's a lot of elements that come into play when you have to move on from somebody. But if you, again, know your worth, it will over time, there will come a time where you just all of a sudden I woke up and it was like, it didn't bother me anymore. Like all of those things that used to bother me, thinking about, him with someone else, or it did not bother me one bit. And I was like genuinely, like a lot of times you'll say to your friends or to people like, oh, I don't care what he does, but really it hurts you. But when you really feel like nothing, it doesn't hurt you anymore, that's when I knew I was over it. And I'm like, I looked at myself one day and I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm okay. And that's when the happiness started again. Like, my kids, obviously they contributed to it in a big way too, but
I mean, that's really good. I always told people, like, what your ex is doing and who they're doing it with is none of our business. They can do whatever they want. That's none of my business, because our goal is to move forward, focus about us, forgive ourselves, and then forgive them, and then move forward.
Yep.
We can't really control people and their actions. We're only responsible for what we do.
Right.
And that's the most important part. Yeah. So to wrap it up, right? What is one thing that you will do differently, right? If you were to go back in time and say, you know what, I would do this differently if it was. I know that we talked about we wouldn't do anything, it made us stronger. But what is one thing that you probably say, you know what, I should have walked away?
I don't think that I would have wanted to say that, or that I would have wanted to like leave earlier, because I needed that. I needed it to get to a point where it was, I couldn't take no more. Otherwise I would have maybe regretted leaving, or, so I really don't know what I would have done differently, but I'm just glad that I feel like I am a different person now, so it won't happen to me anymore from here on out, like I'm so confident in that. But what I would have done differently then, I needed everything that happened. I really did. Like I needed that for to become stronger and to become tougher and to learn how to say no. And I wrote a song about that too. It's called All Grown Up. A lot of people like it. It's on my album After Dark, and it's called All Grown Up, and it's about learning how to finally stand up for yourself and say no, and say, be like brave enough to like step away from something. So honestly, it's nothing I would have done differently.
I hope people are listening to this, because I think this right here alone will help a young woman or a man going through anything right now, to help them get to the next level of overcoming some kind of heartbreak or pain, or just advancing their love experience, right? So I just want you to give your greatest piece of advice, right? Your best piece of advice to someone who's experienced probably a hard, challenging love experience right now, don't know what to do. Their love experience, they never had a good love experience at all, right? What would you tell that young man or young woman today?
Yeah, it's like you have to keep the faith and the hope, like for it to exist out there. Because for me, I'm in the same place. Even like now, people that I date now, I tell them like, I don't believe it till I see it. Like I'm so like just negative when it comes to relationships. I'm so like good on my own, but when it comes to relationships, I'm like, I don't even know that I will ever find that person, because I've never had a man that didn't lie. I've never been with somebody that didn't cheat on me. I never had been with somebody that didn't have someone else. Never in life. So how would I just believe that exists when I haven't experienced it myself? But on the other side, like I have to I have to believe it, because otherwise, like, what is there? Like, I'm gonna just be by myself forever, which,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of like I'm okay by myself, but of course, like we all, like, I love love. I still love love, and that's why I still believe in it. I still am open for it. But like I said in the beginning, like, I am now a little bit more reserved. I'm a little bit scared.
Yeah.
But my biggest advice, damn, I totally drifted off that question. But
No, keep talking.
keeping, like, still, like, believing in love, kind of. That's what I want to
Yeah.
say, because for me, that's what I have to I take my own advice with that. I still have to believe in it, because otherwise I may as well just, you know, be cool by myself. But still
Yeah.
believe in love and love yourself and learn how to love yourself. It's always so easy to say. People always say, love yourself. You got to love yourself first. But
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know how. I was there when I was younger, especially when I was a teenager. I hated everything about me. And I went from that to loving myself. And it took um, just being good to yourself, being kind to yourself,
Mhm.
and doing things that do yourself what good, that do good for your
Mhm.
physical, mental, and mind, body, and soul. Learn how
Yeah.
to fall in love with taking care of you. I take such good care of myself now, and that's really what gave me the self-love, and that's what made me happier as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
just figuring out what
Yeah.
it is that
I love it. I love it. I love
that
what you
loves
said
you.
with believing in love. Because you got to believe in love and believe in yourself. There's so many people who give up on love because of bad love experiences.
Yeah,
So they
man.
think that love is not for them because they've been through a little bit of turmoil, right? They had a little bit of bumps.
Yeah.
Somebody cheated on them, somebody lied to them, disrespected them,
Me.
physically. Well, you give up because it's painful emotionally and mentally, and you're scarred. So I think for those people as well, what you said was perfect. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you will love again. You have to believe that on the other side of fear, there's someone good there. And we can't allow fear to cloud our judgment. We can't allow fear to cloud our judgment and cloud the fact that there's nobody good there for you. Because there are good people out there. We
Yep.
just gotta have that discernment, be ready to be open, and just be free to accept and receive love. And I think that's one of the main things. So how can people find you? What do you have, going on?
So yeah, since we talked about this topic
Mhm.
the whole time, I have a book out. It's called The Other Woman, and it's been out for a few
Mhm.
years, but not enough people know about it. And a lot of women are inspired by my story and how I was able to walk away and start over and gain happiness again. And all of how I did it is in that book. It's called The Other Woman by Amina Buddafly, and it's available on Amazon.com or on BarnesandNoble.com. So I love to just inspire by sharing my life, by sharing my music,
Yeah.
and by just being an open book with my journey and my story. So Instagram, I'm very, very active there. I have all of the social platforms, Twitter, Facebook,
Yeah.
at Amina Buddafly. And yeah, I always, my main thing is still, as always, music, and just being I guess, like a super mom, hopefully inspiring other moms to
Yeah.
still go for your dreams while you raise your kids, because I raise my kids by myself for the
Yeah.
most part.
Yeah.
And it's tough. And a lot of moms want to know how I do it all. So there's another book out. I have to mention that as well. It's called My Dishes and More. It's a lifestyle book for women who struggle with balancing their,
Yeah.
their mom life and social life and career.
Yeah.
So it's also a self-love and self-care
Yeah.
book, 30 days, a 30-day guide to a happier, healthier, and better you. So those two books, make sure, if you liked the interview today, check those out. And My Dishes and More, and The Other Woman, and then of course my music. So that's really all I'm up to: music and writing and being a
That's a
mom.
quick question, right?
Yeah.
You wrote those two books, right, out of your situation, correct?
Yeah.
So you're telling me that if you didn't go through that situation, you would have never be able to bless or give to other people the way you are now.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
why I'm not mad at it. That's why.
Yeah, yeah.
And people are, because I was so public with my relationship and they saw all the misery and sadness and what I was going through, people are now mad at me for having now, years later, being in a good place with that person, with my kid's
Mhm.
father. Like, we get along very good. Like, I have no more, you have completely forgiven him. We've moved on from it. And we are actually friends. And people don't like to see that, because they maybe couldn't do that, go from lovers to friends. But I was able to master that, and that's one of my biggest accomplishments. Because I always wondered, is it possible to go from like lovers to friends? And I now know it is, because I have no interest in him, anything like emotionally or like, you know, anything romantically with him, but we are family, and we make it work, and we get along better than ever. And just people just don't like to see it. That saddens me a little bit, because I would love for everybody to have a good relationship with you know, the other parent, and co-parenting, make co-parenting easier. It's possible. I'm saying it. Yeah.
I mean, I love that part, because I get so much DMs, you know, from people saying, "Hey, Keishorne, how do you co-parent? How do you do this?" And it's tough, because a lot of people are like emotionally drowning because they want it to work, but it can't.
Yeah.
You know?
When you're not over, it's not possible unless you are completely over it. I have to mention that as well. Like you cannot be like good with and like co-parenting successfully. You're not over the person. So that it definitely takes that.
Let them know, Amina, because they think that they could just do whatever they want, sleep with them still, have sex with them still, and still go on and still try to get over. Thank you for stating that. That right there, that's gonna be a little clip. I like that. That's gonna be so thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for your time. Thank you for the wonderful words of wisdom, this interview, and just thank you for being who you are. Right? You're a mom, you're a superwoman, you're a provider, you're a queen, you're everything good. So I'm just grateful for your life, and I'm just ecstatic on what 2021 has in store for you.
Yay! So this was awesome. I love this conversation, and it was a great interview. So thanks so much for having me.
Anytime.